You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, we're going to do training camp updates, etc. But before we get into all of that, first of all, I saw this yesterday. I didn't report on it because it didn't seem to be major. At least I wanted to wait until it became a major thing. Maybe would have mentioned it if he was still a Chicago Bear, but I noticed that Tarik Cohen had been injured he's with the Jets currently. He was injured in Jets training camp yesterday. Didn't know if it was serious or whatever, kind of just disregarded it. Well, today, there's this tweet from Adam Schefter. Former Bears running back Tarik Cohen, who is attempting a comeback from assorted knee injuries through his NFL career, informed the Jets today that he was retiring from the NFL from football, effective immediately. At his peak, Cohen was one of the NFL's most explosive players. So, Tarik Cohen had apparently a drawback. I'm guessing it's related somewhat to his knee or whatever, but he decided to retire from the NFL. Kind of sucks for him. I always felt like Tarik Cohen was kind of at one point, Tarik Cohen was the Bears' best option, and they refused to use him. I remember that. Like, he was the one guy I was afraid of, and they kept going with like Montgomery or whoever else was there. I don't exactly remember. And I was just glad that I was like, well, as long as they don't use Cohen, because that's the guy that super scares me as a Packer fan, because we have a hard time, especially at the time, we had a hard time containing those style of running backs. You know, the speed guys that can get to the outside, use them in the screen game, use them in the receiving game. I just remember prior to a particular matchup saying that's the guy that kind of makes me nervous, and they just didn't use him. So, sorry for Tarik Cohen. Hopefully everything's okay with him physically and goes on to have a great life and all that. Other thing I wanted to bring up prior to getting into the details is this whole white jersey thing. So, for the most part, my stance is I don't really super care. I used to be very anti all of this. I like the Packers' traditional jerseys, and the alternate jerseys didn't do anything for me. They grew on me over time. You know, I thought the skin-colored pants were the worst thing in human history. But thanks to Aaron Rodgers eviscerating so many teams in those jerseys, you start to get endeared to them. And then we had like the dark green with the gold helmets. It's whatever. It's not my favorite thing, but it's whatever. It's Packers football, and over time you get used to it. And so I guess the general feeling that I have is, look, we have our main jerseys, and I like our main jerseys. Don't go officially changing it to the skin-colored pants or the all-green with gold helmet. Like, don't do that. As long as we have our traditional jerseys, but like maybe once a year we want to get crazy, then I say go crazy. You know, go freaking Oregon Ducks. Get nuts with it. Have some fun. And the Packers came up with all whites. And beyond that, it's not just all whites. It seemed like for some reason people are upset that the helmet was also white, which I don't understand because I think it would look weird to have all whites with like a bright gold helmet or whatever. I don't fully understand why that would be a thing. But it's not only all white, but it's like themed, and the theme is essentially what is it? A winter warning, which is so cool on so many levels. I had created a T-shirt with Aaron Rodgers I didn't watch the show, but it was Winter is Coming, right? And it was Aaron Rodgers with like the guy's head, whoever, I don't know who that is, but it's that head in a Rodgers jersey. It was super dope, and it just said Winter is Coming. Great t-shirt. Nobody bought it. But so there's this idea, number one, Winter is Coming. It's a October game. It's like mid to late October. So winter is literally coming, which on top of that is, you got the imagery of like literal winter is coming, which is a threat from the Green Bay Packers because you know what we do in winter and you know what you're going to have to do when you come here and it gets cold. Winter is coming. Be prepared. On top of that, there's also, I don't know how thought out this actually is or if it's just me just imagining this or whatever, but I don't care. It's fun for me. The idea of winter is coming could be sort of embodied as the team, whereas the team we are the winter team. We are the threat of winter is coming. And it's embodied in these all white jerseys. I think the whole thing is super cool. It is, we are it's snow colored, it's winter colored, it's winter is coming. It's, they asked the fans who are going to that game to wear white. Somebody said, well, they just want them to buy these stupid jerseys. Listen, I don't care. If you don't like the jersey and you're stupid enough to buy it because you don't know how to find a $10 white t-shirt on Amazon, then I don't feel bad for you, right? If you like it and you want to buy it, then you should buy it. Like it's nobody's a victim here. It's just, I think it's a cool concept, and I would love to see I would love to see a sea of white out there in the stands with all white Green Bay Packers. I don't know. I think it's actually kind of cool. I've not actually been excited about a jersey change before. It's not even so much the design. I don't really care, but when you couple it with the whole theme behind it, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I like that a lot. It makes a lot of sense. It's actually a well thought out thing. And again, the throwbacks don't need to be thought out. It's just we want to make it look like the old jerseys used to, which is like, okay, cool. History and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of dig it. And then apparently they put like gold flakes in the helmet, so it's like there is gold. It's like that's wow. That's another really cool detail. Like I didn't even notice it when I saw it. I had to kind of zoom in. I'm like, oh yeah, there are some kind of speckles in it. I can't tell what it is. I don't know. I just think the whole thing is really well thought out. I think most people are just looking at it going, ew, white. I don't know, whatever. I think the thought process that went behind the actual design, the concept of it, the detail of it, like I said, the gold specks, I think it's great. I do, the one thing I agree with that I don't super care for is that it's still on the sleeves got the green with the gold stripe in between. And it just seems weird to be like all whited out. Like I'm envisioning a winter whiteout, not actually in the game, but like just this is what it is. Like it's a blizzard, and in the blizzard are like these camouflaged people, but yet you've got these green and gold stripes on it. It's like we're not really whiting this thing out enough. At the very least, like put the two green stripes and then a white in the middle or something. I don't know. That would be, I guess, the only critique, but I certainly don't hate it. And like I said, for the most part, I don't care. I love the theme, I guess, behind it, but for the most part, it's an indifference thing for me. As long as we're not talking about we should make this the permanent jerseys for the, like, no. Like, we should do the all green and gold helmets for home and the all whites for away. Like, no, dude. No. Not that anybody's saying that, because they're not, which is part of the point, right? It's just, we're just having fun. And this is, as far as I know, just for this year. And it's just a one-time thing, and then we'll do something else next year. Or maybe we do the same thing. I don't know, but I don't. It's not that. It's like the Madden grades, People get all whipped up about that, and sometimes I do too, but I shouldn't. I didn't even look at the Madden grades yet, and then I had made a comment about Xavier McKinney and how people aren't excited enough, and somebody sarcastically commented that he wasn't even a top 15 safety, and that started to make my blood boil. And then, who was it? Tyler Boyd, I think, is the name of the Bears safety. Like, but he's in the top 10 or whatever. And I was like, oh, son of a, not now. Now I got a problem. Madden has put Tyler Boyd ahead of Xavier McKinney at safety. I don't know if they do that sometimes just to try to get people to react to it, to give it some kind of extra hype. But I would love to know the freaking thought process behind that. What are we doing here? I don't know. I don't understand what we're doing. In other injury news, and again, you start to see this early, it makes you nervous. I know yesterday the Packers got lucky, at least, as far as we know. Yesterday we started to see injuries crop up. It's starting to become, and I think that happens as time goes on. Not only is heat becoming more of an issue, probably, I'm assuming, across the country, but just as training camp goes on, bodies start to get worn down. They start to get maybe pushed a little bit too far. You start to see more and more injuries. You start to get more and more nervous as a fan for your own team. But Ari Mirov tweeted out, scary scene in Cleveland. Browns running back Deontay Foreman was placed on a backboard and carted off after suffering an injury during a punt drill, per local media. He was then taken into an ambulance. So we'll monitor that. Hopefully he's doing okay. All right, let's get into Matt LaFleur's press conference. Right out of the gate, Edgerrin Cooper, we mentioned yesterday, was taken off the field. He suffered a groin injury. Don't know the extent of that. Obviously, hope he'll be back soon, but that could end up being more serious. For a guy that I was hoping would begin to start taking more snaps next to Quay, for him to be removed, I mean, that obviously just massively helps the two guys, McDuffie and Wilson, that are next to him, keeping those jobs, at least for the time being. He did reference it, or did call it a little groin injury. I don't know if that's a comment on the injury or something else, but believe that for that. The other injury that sucks is Valentine. Quote from Paul Brettel says, "We're still kind of going through that right now," said LaFleur about Valentine, who missed Wednesday's practice with a hamstring. They'll be cautious. I take that to mean he's going to be out a little while, right? Be cautious means he has to be 110% before he steps back on the field, and we know how hamstring things go, so sucks, but, what can you do? Actually, I got to play this for you. This is actually really hilarious for many, many reasons. This is actually quite funny. Number one, because as some of you may know, I'm not a big fan of Rob Demovsky when it comes to local coverage. I just think he's very full of himself. He's very overly sensitive. He's blocked me. He's the only one that I'm aware of that's blocked me. And I don't like the way he treats people, particularly players. But anyways, here he is asking the first question, and the interaction is quite hilarious, partially because Matt LaFleur makes fun of him for being sensitive. And then there's also the little groin comment, which I don't understand, and I think it's funny.
Hey Matt, since some dude on Twitter called me a failure at my job for not interrupting practice yesterday, walking across the field and asking Edgerrin Cooper why he dropped out, I'd like to ask at the appropriate time why Edgerrin Cooper dropped out. A little sensitive. Oh yeah.
If you dished it, you gotta be able to take it. Right? All right, you're taking it?
I'm taking it.
All right. Not taking it very well.
So why did Edgerrin
Because he had a little growing. So we'll see how he does. And, but yeah.
Little groin.
Yeah.
Why did he drop out? Official answer, because he had a little groin. Okay. Well, good to know. And yes, Rob really is that sense. Listen. To be fair to Rob, I will take Twitter fights and then spend an hour on my podcast going on about it. So I understand hating people who are stupid to the point where you need to vent about it. But in context, what I'm doing makes perfect sense, and it creates pretty solid content. In fact, it's pretty much everybody's favorite content. Nobody wants to hear a beat reporter who is a professional at ESPN whining about somebody who was mean to me online. It's just, maybe he should just be a lowly, stupid little podcaster like me instead of big, tough ESPN guy who has a big freaking ego and everything. Anyways, continuing on, Matt LaFleur on Jordan Morgan. He has everything you look for in a guy who can play in the league for a long time. Don't know exactly what that means. Not really the comment I'm looking for. We know he has potential, like every other human being on the team has potential. I'm more curious on how he's doing right now in terms of progressing into a starter for this team, because a lot of people have all the potential in the world and never become a starter. So give me some updates on how close he is to actually being good at football. TJ Slaton has surprised us in some ways, tell me about it, with his ability to get off the ball. Quote, he's done a really good job. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one. It sounds like the Packers were Also not expecting TJ Slaton to be a frickin' monster pass rusher on the defensive line. But Andy Herman says tons of praise from Matt LaFleur for TJ Slaton for the camp he's having. Schneidman elaborates, says Matt LaFleur says third-year defensive tackle TJ Slaton start to camp has been surprising, in a good way, compliments how he's getting off the ball and wrecking double teams. I mean, and they're double teams. I mean, if the dude can beat double teams and you got Kenny or Wyatt and then Rashawn and Preston, I mean, I don't know. I'm still skeptical, especially against double teams, and I will stay skeptical. But I'm hopeful. I mean, please be true. Please be true. Also added he's made a huge jump, according to Paul Brettel. About Anthony Johnson Jr., also known as AJJ, which really is a bad nickname. I don't like saying AJJ, but half the time I forget what his name actually is, so I call him AJJ. We got to figure something. Can we call him AJ, right? There's no other AJs on the team, is there? Oh, AJ Dillon. Yeah, I guess AJJ it is. We also used to have Aaron Jones, which got confusing because you had AJ. You didn't know if you're talking AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones. Anyways, AJJ has had an outstanding camp and has made a huge jump per Matt LaFleur, says he's excited for him. And that is something to be excited about because remember, if there was anybody in that 2023 class that there seemed to be unanimous consent was the biggest steal, I think it was him. I didn't know a ton about him, but I remember guys on the Draft Network being like, I can't believe what the Packers just did getting this guy. This guy can start day one. And obviously they were wrong. He was not NFL ready when he stepped onto a football field. But hearing that he's had an outstanding camp and has made a huge jump, I'm on board. I had no hope for him, primarily because he just got buried by 3 rookies. But with Bullard seemingly kind of disappearing, I mean, we'll see what happens in the future. I'm guessing he's going to get more reps with the ones, but he was the guy, and then we just hadn't heard from him in a while. And with Oladapo being injured, it's really just kind of a battle right now between Anthony Johnson and Williams. I still, if you told me to put money down on who starts, I would still say Bullard. But every day that goes by, with Bullard being the one guy that's not really standing out at safety, he has a couple times, but I don't know. And then to hear the coach say he's made a huge jump, I'm at least willing to hear him out, to see how this all pans out. Matt LaFleur on the white helmet says, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. It'll bring some juice to the locker room. The guys really like him. It's also, I suppose, important. What do the players that have to wear him think? If they hated him, that would suck. Like, dude, I'm embarrassed to go out there. I don't want to go out there with this garbage. Oh, boy. Ari Mirov says, running back Deontay Foreman has been transported via helicopter to medical center in Roanoke, Virginia. Team says he has movement in all his extremities. I knew he got taken out I heard it was an ambulance. A helicopter seems significantly more important. That's terrible. Daniel Oyefusi, who is Cleveland Browns reporter for ESPN, says, update from the Browns on running back Deontay Foreman. During practice today, Browns running back Deontay Foreman sustained a direct blow to the head that resulted in neck pain. The Browns athletic training staff deployed their standard emergency action procedure to immobilize Foreman. He was taken to an ambulance and is being transported via helicopter to a medical center. Also, maybe he went to one hospital and got flighted to somewhere else. I don't know. To undergo further medical evaluation. Foreman had movement in all his extremities. Updates will be provided as more is received. That's some scary stuff. Sounds like he's doing okay, but you always hate to hear that kind of stuff. All right. Rookie update. I know a lot of people were in on Ladd McConkey. Here is a quote from an article from the Chargers. Says, through 6 practices, McConkey has arguably been the most impressive receiver. He has tied the team in lead in catches for 10 with DJ Chark, per reporting done by the Athletics' Daniel Popper. McConkey has, in that span, had just 1 reported drop along with 2 touchdowns. So any McConkey fans, there's a quick update. Should also be noted that the Chargers do not have wide receivers anymore. They sent them all away. So RIP to Herbert, who's been in a terrible situation his entire career. Justin Fields update. Fields again gets first-team reps in 7 shots. Defense wins the day. Go figure. A little bit of a summary of that. 7 shots. Justin Fields finds Darnell Washington. I miss that guy. Fields throws incomplete. Fields looks for Van Jefferson over the middle. Great pass breakup. Fields changes his arm angle to sidearm to pass to Jefferson. 2 of 2. Shovel pass from Kyle Allen. Stop short. Kyle Allen's pass deflected at the line. Allen throws high for Mecole Pruitt. I'm excited to watch Fields play. I still can't decide if I'm rooting for him or against him. It's like, hi, you suck. It's like, oh, wait, no. I kind of want you to be good, but I don't know. I don't really know. I guess either way is fine. Either way is just going to be fine. Update from Big B. He says, it's official. If you get caught filming at practice, they will ask for an ID and you will be banned from practice. Look, I'm kind of coming down on two sides in this. Number one, this is not correct. They should not stop people from filming. I don't think that should be a thing. However, this has been a rule, and if it's a rule, you should enforce it, right? So the fact that it's like, I don't know. It's not outrageous that they're actually enforcing the rule. What's outrageous is the rule itself. But yeah, if you know the rule is you're not allowed to record, and you've been caught recording like 7 times, and after the 7th time, they're like, all right, listen, if you do it again, we're seriously going to ban you from practice. I don't know that it's super shocking, I guess. I mean, Big B's whole shtick is that he illegally, put that in quotes, records practices. I mean, that's his whole thing. So, yeah, that's how that's going to go. And with that, Javon Bullard is back on the field. It's been a while, man. It's been, I think, several practices, but Javon Bullard Day, he is the number 1 safety along with Xavier McKinney, hoping for him to have a real big day because he needs it. We need it. We need Bullard to have a big day because we need Bullard to be awesome. Not rooting against Williams in any capacity. I just want everybody to be freaking awesome. That's all I'm saying. Deontay Foreman is dealing with what is described as an upper back, lower neck injury. So, there you go. According to Andy Herman, our offensive line in walkthroughs today is Walker. Then you got Newman, Ryan, Morgan, and Tom. Bullard with the ones at safety. Carl Brooks is out there at defensive end. Interesting. Looks like we might be getting multiple rest days today. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. I can't imagine Royce Newman and Sean Ryan would be starting in those positions just because we want to try stuff. You know what I mean? These are not actual competitive spots, so we might have Myers and Elton Jenkins sitting out. We'll get an update on that in a minute. It is interesting that Sean Ryan is getting some cracks at center. A lot of that probably just has to do with the lack of bodies, but, I mean, you could go Monk, so it sounds like there's maybe actual, real concerted effort to see if he can do it, which might just have to do with, hey, look, we kind of like Sean Ryan, but we're not going to put him ahead of Morgan and Elton. So let's see if he can play center. I argued with people about that a little bit yesterday who were like, I don't think that Morgan's going to beat out Sean Ryan. And it's like, look, first of all, Sean Ryan has not been that good. Maybe he took a big jump, I don't know. Number 2, Morgan is looking better and is a first-round pick and is, significantly more athletic. First of all, that was a big knock against Sean Ryan. He's not a prototypical Packers offensive lineman who's very kind of small and agile. He's a big mauling type of guy that isn't quite as light on his feet. So Morgan is built to be a top-tier Packers offensive lineman, especially on the interior. I just struggle to see Ryan winning any of those jobs. So it's worth a shot. I mean, he'll compete at guard primarily against Morgan, and that'll be the primary thing, but who knows? If he can play center, maybe. This also could just be an opportunity to say, do we want him anywhere? If it's really just not working out, we're super thin at center. We've got several guys that can play guard. Maybe Sean Ryan could be a backup center to Myers this year, and then if we move on from Myers next year, maybe Ryan can be. It's just options is all it is, and it might just be a very nothing option that we're going to move off from in about 5 seconds. Got an update here from Caden Sanilla. Says Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and Kenny Clark all on vet rest days. I'm sure there's plenty more, but that explains why you see traditional interior guys out on the end. John Del Rey says Elton Jenkins is getting a veteran rest day, so there's another one that we're aware of. He goes on to say Newman's chance to make the teams are a lot better than some think. Monk has struggled with snapping. With Morgan as RG1, makes sense to cross-train Ryan at center. So, again, that is kind of a problem. Like, Monk is not necessarily what you want at center, at least yet. So, we don't have any depth there. And so, Newman, he's just one of those guys that everybody hates and wants off the team, but it's like we don't have the bodies right now to just say, you've disappointed me, you need to be cut. You need to be sacrificed at the altar. Bottom line is it's a lot worse after him, and it just makes us real thin unnecessarily. So does that mean there's more work to be done in the draft and free agency to bolster the offensive line? Yes, but for the time being, guys like Ryan and Newman and Monk and whatnot, that's our depth. That's what we have, and we're not going to get rid of that. Anyway, somehow we're already 24 minutes into this. I didn't even realize we had done that much work. Why don't we take a break? Time flies when you're having some fun. We'll get started on this training camp, and we'll see how she goes. We'll be right back. U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/builtforus to get started.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
First update comes from Mike Spofford. We still have 4 quarterbacks in camp, which is a little bit surprising, but I do expect that to get cut down relatively quickly. I think they just want to get a long enough look at QB4 before they make a decision. Who knows, maybe they end up hanging on to him. Elton Jenkins, who has a rest day. I'm not sure if he's the designated hype man or not, but Aaron Nagler reports that he is pumping up the sideline today. Today is a half pad day at camp, so probably makes sense. It's been several days of super hot weather. Yesterday was a gut check day in terms of it's going to be hot and we're going to do a lot. Makes sense that today is kind of a wind down day, give the veterans some rest because we don't want them getting injured, obviously. And then for the rest of the more youthful and I suppose less important, it's going to be half pads and kind of a little bit more of a light day. Has also observed that running back Josh Jacobs is not in uniform and not practicing. I'm assuming that also is a veteran rest day. It could possibly be something more serious, but he kind of makes sense in terms of, I mean, we paid a ton of money for him to be a premier running back. It wouldn't have surprised us if Aaron Jones was not padded up, and I think we got to recognize, as much as it feels like he's kind of a new guy, he is expected to be one of the premier pieces on the team. So we'll see, but that would be my guess. Rich Bisaccia doing a little one-on-one work with punter Daniel Whalen. Jair, however, not getting a rest day, which is actually very surprising. I'm not sure the thought process behind that. Maybe he insisted on it. I know he wanted to go at Romeo Doubs or whatever, but not only do they obviously expect him to be a premier piece, but he's paid as such. And so, I mean, Jordan's out there, but he's a quarterback, so I don't think that there's that much strain put on them. They're untouched and everything else. I'm a little surprised that Jair is not getting that rest day, and I hope that it was at the insistence of Jair because, you know, I mean, if you're a guy like Jair, you're looking at all the vets getting days off, and they're like, no, you got to pad up. Like, what the heck? Why do I have to pad up? It's very, I don't know. I don't fully understand that. John Del Rey has a veteran rest tracker. Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers is a maybe. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Clark. So I don't think it's official, but he's assuming Josh Jacobs is another one. By the way, I'd like to introduce a new game. Can you guess which coach this is? The correct answer we were looking for, Anthony Campanile. And unfortunately, we got news on Josh Jacobs. It is not Veteran Rest Day. Josh Jacobs is not practicing today because of a groin injury, so he also has a groin injury. Wonder if the Carrington Valentine injury, the Cooper injury, and the Josh Jacobs injury played a part in saying, hey, let's tone this down a little bit. And apparently another injury. 3 new injuries. Don Callis has a hamstring injury. Don Callis, if you remember, was brought in as a cornerback because we needed some cornerback bodies. He proceeded to get the ever-loving crap beat out of him by every single wide receiver on our roster and is now injured. R.I.P. Don Callis. Very sorry that happened to you. Sorry that the Packers happened to you. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, get hyped. Tomorrow, Packers Family Night. So we'll probably have to do a live stream for that now that I think about it. I'm sure Clayton and the boys are doing it. I don't know if we'll maybe do a joint stream or we'll do a separate stream. I don't know what their plans are. But it just dawned on me right now that needs to be a thing. Cullen obviously will have to be with us. Wes Hodkiewicz just said Cooper is actually a hip. Why would the coach say the most iconic line I've ever heard him say, it's a little groin, and it turns out it's Cooper? Maybe he just got it confused with Josh Jacobs. I don't know. But Wes Hodkiewicz is now saying it's a hip. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Apparently Josh Myers is out for a personal reason again, which is, I don't know. I've never seen that before. I don't want to speculate, obviously, on what's happening, but that's unusual to have a personal thing and then like 2-3 days later you have a personal thing. I'm assuming it's the same thing, but I don't know. I'm not sure what that could be. Maybe, I have thoughts. I won't speculate. It's unnecessary and inappropriate. Ryan Wood says, Packers rookie Edgerrin Cooper has a hip injury, not groin. Carrington Valentine still out with a hamstring. Josh Myers out with a personal day. Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Elton Jenkins having a veteran rest day. So I feel like we got this sort of straightened out now. Getting more positive results or comments from Malik Neighbors. It really does sound like he's going to be a freak. I haven't heard a ton about other guys. Malik Neighbors is nonstop. And this comment from Dan Schneider, we're over a half dozen Giants practices in, and the one observation most consistent on a daily basis, Malik Neighbors is creating absurd separation. We're talking 4 to 6 yards at a time on a consistent basis, every practice, multiple times per, despite the defense knowing it's coming. So that might be a fun guy to keep an eye on. And it's always fun watching really good football players on really bad teams because you can kind of root for them and be like, oh, that's pretty cool, but not have to worry about them necessarily even being a threat. All right, number 1 offensive line, Walker Newman, Ryan Morgan, and Dillard is the number 1 interior, or number 1 tackle. I suppose we're all the way down to the Dillard line of things, which is why, by the way, nobody's getting cut. If you're planning on injuries happening in vet rest days, we can't be cutting Newman and Dillard because who the heck would be even playing right now? I mean, we have guys, but you understand. All right, starters via Andy Herman. You got Love, Dillon, Watson, Reed, and he says, I think Wicks is the other wide receiver. Musgrave, the tight end. Walker Newman, Ryan Morgan, Dillard is the offensive line. Then on the defensive line, we have Kingsley Enagbare and LVN as our pass rushers, which makes sense. And then Slayton and Wyatt as our defensive tackles, which makes sense. Quay and McDuffie sounds right. Stokes, Nixon, Jair. And then Bullard, McKinney. I wonder if Jair has more to do with, with Valentine being hurt. Who would even... Well, King is in the slot now. Valentine has been in the slot. I don't even know. I don't know. And then Bullard and McKinney at safety, if I didn't say that. Second play of team period, Slayton wrecks a run play instantly. I'm telling you, dude, it's getting crazy. Really nice run from Marshawn Lloyd. Quick cut, then acceleration. Nasty inside cut by Lloyd and team. Run jazzes up the crowd, says Wes Hodkiewicz. Bullard is the number 1 safety, we know. Marshawn Lloyd, big run. Heck yes, they're all talking about the same run, presumably, but I like getting from multiple perspectives. We got Eversole with a breakdown of the plays in order here. Number 1 offense, an 11 on 11. 2 short runs by Dillon. Check down to Dillon as Lucas Van Ness and JJ completely collapsed off the edge and met at the quarterback. Lloyd with a sick cutback, breaks off a big chunk. Dude is electric. I'm excited about that, man. I'm ready to see Marshawn Lloyd and see what he can do out there. Kyle Malzahn says, there's your first Marshawn Lloyd highlight of Packers training camp. Made a few cuts playing with the first team offense and broke free running 50 yards for the touchdown. So didn't get that little detail. I know Herman says that Ballantyne would have had a chance to bring him down, but either way, it's an impressive play. Carl Brooks has been heating up as of late, a would-be sack of Clifford and team. Brenton Cox pressuring as well. Colby Wooden getting some defensive end snaps, opposite of Cox with Gary and Smith on vet rest. Really nice job of Clifford recognizing pressure pre-snap and adjusting at the line, sending a Wilson run the other way. We're getting there, Cliff. We're getting there. One more. Tyler Davis also with a rest day. Monk getting some snaps with the ones with Myers out today. Obviously putting him at center. Rookie Jacob Monk handling first team snaps with Josh Myers, Elton Jenkins, Zach Tom out. Just out the football on the ground as Jordan Love tried to backpedal. I'm guessing put. Couple more plays from Marquez Eversole. He says fly motion shovel pass to Jaden Reed, picks up a few. Nixon played it nicely. Fumbled snap, Monk to Love. Love hits Watson on a dig for about 15 with Ballantyne in coverage. Easy pitch and catch. I'm telling you, dude, you cannot put Watson on anybody but Jair and Stokes. Jair and Stokes. I just don't think it's going to work. Lloyd got blown up in the backfield. Eric Wilson again in on it. I'm guessing again is referencing other days, but just that downhill stuff is crazy. Blown up in the backfield. Eric Wilson in on it, along with Ford and Hopper. Never had a chance. Love is either super short for DeBose or super high for Melton. Either way, it's incomplete. Defender had the best chance. Clifford, nice little bootleg to Melton. Another person's perspective on the Eric Wilson play. He says, Eric Wilson, the wily vet, with another play in the backfield, this time on Lloyd. All right, why don't we take our final break, and then we'll just rip through the rest of this. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're moving on to the kicking here. Carlson goes 1 of 3. He's now 22 of 27 in camp. Joseph goes 3 of 3. He's 25 of 27. Joseph's starting to pull away here. I guess Carlson made from 41, missed from 45 wide left, hit the left upright from 47. Walker has great coverage down the left seam on Watson, but Love fits it in beautifully for roughly 30-yard gain. Elite. I think that's sort of an underrated aspect of what we've been hearing a lot is how on the money some of these passes have been, and I've seen it in some of the videos. First of all, I have not heard a ton. There's been a couple. I have not heard a ton of like that ball was way over or underthrown. There was a ton of that last year. You know, Watson wide open, ball underthrown. Almost none of that. In fact, more than anything, what we're hearing is good coverage, but Love fits it in perfectly. Eversole says Love to Watson with an absolute dime up the seam, threading the needle against triple coverage just over Quay's shoulder, just perfect. Van Ness runs a stunt and is in Love's face quick, but terrific throw from Love, who drops the ball in the bucket to Watson down the seam. So even more layers to it. You got Van Ness in your face. I mean, it really just brings you back to last year, some of the throws he had. I mean, just guys in his face throwing off his back foot in the middle of triple coverage to Romeo Dobbs, you know, just dropping it in. It might have even been 4 guys right in the middle. You know, I don't know. I mean, again, we don't know the full story of Jordan Love and what his, you know, we look at Brett Favre, and it's like, you know, we know what his highs were, we know what his lows were, we know what the good eras, the bad eras, all the little quirks, right? If you hit him, he got real mad, he got real good, he played with a broken thumb, Iron Man, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about Jordan Love, what his highs and lows are going to be. But I feel like we're getting a glimpse at what some of the highs are going to be, right? We hope to minimize some of the lows, you know, maybe the interceptions, the losses in big games. You know, really it was just the San Francisco game, but I'm just saying, like, those are the storylines you don't want to continue. But man, we're seeing more and more of this just incredible stuff that very few quarterbacks have done. I mean, Rodgers was basically 1 of 1 when he was doing this stuff at the time. There's been some others that have, you know, Mahomes being the prime example, that have come out and have been able to do some really impressive stuff. But man, oh man. Schneidman says, Love with a perfect earhole seam ball to Christian Watson for about 30 yards right in Quay Walker's blind spot. Reminds me of that Rodgers touchdown pass to Tunyon on Monday Night Football a couple years ago. Pretty bad with my memory, but I do remember that. Defender can hear the whistle past his ear, you know. Dimitri Stanley makes a diving catch and comes down awkward on his leg, hobbled away but trying to run it off. Should be okay. Stanley's another guy. I mean, there's quite a pile. And it's been a few days, but Stanley has definitely stood out as some of the low-end wide receivers making a name for himself. Big B really testing security. He took a as he put it, motion photo, not a video. So we'll see how that goes. Andy Herman says, Emmanuel Wilson with another nice run, this one down the left sideline. He's had a big run almost every practice. Lloyd flashes his hands on a snag off a wheel route from Clifford. There was a play earlier. I didn't really comment on it because it was just a little practice play or whatever, but it was just a quick pass, I think, from Jordan Love, and his ability to kind of, do one of those 180 spins to catch it and then land on your feet and get going up north and south real quickly. In other words, really good balance, really good hands, really good body control. It's just a minor thing, but it was pretty impressive, because a lot of times you catch that, you kind of stumble or whatever. It was smooth. Herman says, Marshawn Lloyd with a nice little catch over the middle. He moves so damn easy, just a fun player to watch. It was kind of, I didn't see a video of this one that they're talking about, but it was kind of the same situation where you just look at the movement ability and, again, the body control and all that. He is quite smooth. Monk now working with the ones at center, Ryan at left guard. Lucas Van Ness is stacking success. Another sack this time on Love. He's had a really nice week of practice. Yeah, he just needs to go up against the number one offensive line, which is our worst offensive line, apparently. Oh, boy. Van Ness burst through for what appeared to be a sack, but ball moved ahead 2 yards. Enigbare blows up a run inside for no gain. McDuffie and Van Ness all over a Lloyd run. Zane Anderson all over a quick out to Reed. Zaniac. It's completed for a few, but Anderson is right there for the stop. Enigbare bursts through on a tackle for a loss for Dillon. Devontae Wyatt goes right through Sean Ryan for a big-time pressure. Love stays strong in the pocket, delivers a strike over the middle to Wicks. See, again, Wyatt gets an insta beat, an insta pressure off of Sean Ryan. And what does Love do? He doesn't even break the pocket. I mean, sometimes he does if he needs to, but if he's got a guy, he's like, screw it. I'm gonna take it. That's poise in the pocket. It's one of the things, too, that I critiqued Aaron Rodgers on, especially later in his career. He would not do that. He would not stand in and just take the hit and throw. He would constantly break the pocket, and you'd say, well, that guy was open. It's like, well, he would have been hit, etc. Jordan will stand in, and he's like, I got him. And, sometimes that will lead to disaster. You're going to get hit as you throw. It's going to go straight up in the air, but more often than not, he's making big plays that should not be made. Here's Eversole giving a play-by-play on that. Number one's in move the ball period. Reed jet sweep, loses a yard. Go figure. Hand off to Dillon for 4. Check down to Dillon, moves the chains. Love pressured, tackled by Wooden near the line of scrimmage. McDuffie and Lucas Van Ness stuff Lloyd on a run to the left, short gain. Love quick out to Reed, first down. JJ stuffs Dillon. Love hits Wicks with a laser over the middle, just past diving McDuffie, first down, apparently not. Love to Wicks again on a slant. This time the chains move. End of drive. Herman says Dontavian Wicks is really hitting his stride. Another completion, just feels like he's always open. Now Aaron Nagler says Ford just flew past Monk during team reps. Lord have mercy. Again, the offensive line not being super impressive, but a lot of these guys on the defensive line you're kind of looking at going, Ford. Don't expect much from Ford, but he's been doing some stuff. Hopefully it's not just worst offensive line in football type stuff. You know what I mean? Odumegwu gets home versus Eason in the threes. Cox there half a second later. Good to hear his name. Odumegwu. Rashawn Gary was pumped up after Kenneth Odumegwu forces a fumble on Jacob Eason. Christian Welts making some plays with the threes. Just put Jarvion Howard on the ground. Nothing too dirty or physical, but he definitely popped him good. Safety Tyler Coyle jumps an out route from Jacob Eason for a house call. Pick 6. There we go. Big B says Tyler Coyle with the pick 6 on Jacob Eason. Read him like a book. Phenomenal play. All right. Scratch in Tyler Coyle real quick. It's a name that has emerged suddenly. Matt Schneidman, backtracking a bit, says Rashawn Gary, not practicing vet rest day, just high-stepped 20 yards downfield after Kenneth Odumegwu burned left tackle Kadeem Telford around the outside for what probably would have been a sack of Jacob Eason. Anders Carlson with another missed field goal. He has not been good today. Carlson really rough today. Several misses. Not great, Bob. Greg Joseph, 6 of 6 for field goals. Anders, 3 of 6. I guess the good news is on the second 3, he missed not the longest one. Carlson missed from 49. He hit 42 and 51. So not a great day. Am I changing my tune on who wins? I am not. If Carlson continues this through the rest of camp, we can have a conversation. But no, I do not think Greg Joseph wins the job. But we'll see. Final tally on those guys through however many practices, 9 practices. 24 of 30 for Carlson, 28 of 30 for Joseph. And keep in mind, like 30-40% of these kicks are from 50 yards out. Back to the play on the field, Big B says Dontayvion Wicks is unreal. Jordan lofts it up to him, makes a catch along the sideline. Didn't look like he had much room to get 2 feet in. He's about to have a crazy year, but we knew that. Nagler says, my God, what a catch on Wicks up the left sideline in an end-of-game period. Perfect ball by Love. Beats good coverage by Stokes. Just an incredible catch. Caden Sanilla says, Jordan Love with 2 great back-to-back throws to Dontayvion Wicks, who made 2 great catches. Hodquist says, Dontayvion Wicks' show is back. Beautiful over-the-shoulder grab from Love in 2 minute to defense 15. Good for 27. Also had first catch of drive for 13. All right, now we got 2-minute drill. Ball at their own 45. Down 7, 1 minute left. No timeouts, 1st and 10. Love to Wicks for about 13. First down, clock ticks. Wicks with a beautiful release versus Stokes, and Love throws an absolute effing dime down the sideline. I'm reading it. Huge gain and out of bounds, unreal play. Down to the 16, 38 seconds left. No timeouts, 1st and 10. Cox almost gets a sack, but Love gets rid of it. Incomplete to Dobbs downfield. Was basically a throwaway, 32 seconds left. Love check down to Reed, picks up 7, clock ticks. Dillard, nice block on Cox. 4th and 2 at the 7 coming up, 9 seconds left. Wicks wins easy, and Love gives him a great ball, but Bullard wisely grabs him. Pass interference called, 1st down at the 1, 4 seconds left. Love complete to Wicks, but defense forced him out at the 1. Looks like there should have been a second left, but it ticks off. Defense wins. Wicks and Love were awesome on that drive. It's kind of interesting on that last one. I mean, I guess they pushed him out of bounds, which is what it is. I was going to say, I wonder if there was more physicality, if it could have been a touchdown, but there's nothing stopping him from trying to push into the end zone. I didn't see it, but I mean, you got to do everything you can to push your body in there, and maybe his feet were off the ground. I don't know, but sounded like a great drive. It just they couldn't finish, which is unfortunate. According to Huber, it was Jair. It says Jair with a pretty big hit on Wicks to stop a touchdown in the final 2-minute drive. So on the flip side, as much as that's disappointing, Jair with the heck of a stop. I mean, you imagine if that was the flip side and the team is driving on the Packers and they're getting down the field and Jair comes up with a game-saving, game-winning hit at the 1 out of bounds. That's pretty crazy. And then Big B says things getting a little chippy between Tay Wicks and Jair, it looks like. Which, by the way, I mean, Jair, he's always wired up, man. He's always wired up. He's still probably pissed off about yesterday. He got beat up by Romeo a little bit. Comes in today. Tay Wicks probably catches it, thinks he's going to real quick turn up, and Jair just frickin' cleans his clock to get him out of bounds, and Tay's a little hot about it. Aaron Nagler says, OMG, what a catch by Wicks up the left sideline in the end of game period. Perfect ball by Love. Beats good coverage by Stokes. Just an incredible catch. That was earlier on, obviously. Wes Hodge says, drill ends with Alexander and Nixon combining to prevent Wicks from getting in the end zone and fade to the pylon. Schneidman says, Jair stops Wicks short of the goal line as time expires in 2 minutes after quick out from Love knocked Wicks to the ground. Wicks got up and shoved Jair, who told him to chill. Wicks started going toward Jair again, and Jaden Reed held him back. Now we got same situation for the twos, who is still Clifford. I'm patiently waiting. Clifford scrambles, no gain or maybe a slight loss, but he gets out of bounds. Clifford to Heath with a nice anticipation throw on an out route, picks up 7, 3rd down. King undercuts the route, but can't come up with anything. Ball hits Turay in the hands for a potential first, but dropped. Dang, King's coming in hot. Clifford tries a slant to Heath, but it's well covered. Defense wins. So just a real quick 4 and out on that. I guess we're just doing a quick end-of-game scenario or something. 16 seconds left, tie game. Ball at the opposing 35, no timeouts. Love throws to Dobbs for a potential touchdown, but Bullard and Dobbs collide hard. Both down for a bit, but get up and walk to the sideline. Actually, Bullard stays in the fake. Dobbs says he's okay. I don't know what fake is supposed to be. Stays in the something. Love fires a strike to Melton. Back corner of the end zone. Should have been 7, but Melton misjudged it. Went right through his hands. Not an easy play for 80, but did seem like he misjudged it a bit. Field goal team is on, and Joseph drills it. Tell you what, man, he's been clutch. As somebody pointed out below, it's interesting he was the kicker for the ones. I'm just saying. No, I don't still think it's a competition, but I mean, we might as well get the drama going, you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been a competition until now. I'm actually glad that there's something to talk about there. That put Joseph at 7 of 7 on the day with a 58-yard field goal with no wind. Jeez. Hey, you want to pull ahead in this competition. You go out there when Anders has his worst day. You go for 7 for 7 and win the game with a 58-yard field goal. Whoo-wee. I might have to familiarize myself with Greg Joseph a little bit and see. Listen, on some level, like we drafted Anders, I want to be patient. I want to have like that real solid guy like Mason Crosby. You get these guys for 15, 20 years, man. They can kick forever. These guys kick till they're 50. Who cares? Greg Joseph, been around a little bit, didn't really anticipate much. But on some level, you just look at him and be like, dude, if Joseph's just good, he's just freaking good. Like, I don't know. I'm just talking here. Got Joseph makes another one. He is now 29 of 31, which is 93.5%. Carlson hits one more. He's now 25 of 31, 80.6%. Kicking competition definitely took a turn today. You could certainly say that. And that is a wrap on day 9 of practice. By the way, both kickers good from 58. So Anders also drilled a 58-yarder, which is pretty incredible. Even for a guy that doesn't really have a problem with long kicks, you're always impressed with a 58-yarder. Offense once again doing push-ups. Looks like the offense has won now one time. I do think, again, they would have had the other team doing push-ups yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever, if they were doing push-ups, but they decided not to. After some chippy play, Matt Schneidman says Matt LaFleur makes the offense and defense handshake it out after practice. More push-ups for the offense, which Preston Smith is loving counting out. I think he did that last time, too. He barks it out for the offense. And I guess he gets to decide how many. He says Preston makes the offense do 30. Herman says Dobbs is the talk of practice the last couple of days, but today it was Wicks. Guarantee there will be Watson days and Reed days too, and that will continue ad infinitum until the end of time. Probably true. All right, folks, I'm going to leave you with that. Have a great rest of your day. I will catch you tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll do a little recap on how training camp has been going. We'll see what I can put together, but that is the plan. We'll talk to you then. Have a good one. Bye-bye.